Yeah, Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Bahar Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who rule and teach well, to the Akims and the Iwas and Byras and those pushing this word in truth, sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now, a friend of mine sent me this article here. It says World War III is approaching. It says pro-Putin channel simulates massive nuclear strike on London would instantly vaporize 850,000 people. And we've been teaching for a while, going back to the apostles and those down, the elders down, that the Bible prophesies of a third world war. It says two woes are past and the third cometh quickly. And the woes are destruction. And what have we seen that's been destructive throughout history? These world wars. So, and we teach that it will be a nuclear war. When the scripture speaks about the lake of fire, that's you looking down at the destruction that these nuclear bombs create, and it will look like a lake of fire. So I just want to read some of this article and play a few clips because we hear talk of peace, with the Israeli and the Palestinian, well, not the Palestinian, Hezbollah, but you can't be talking of peace and a ceasefire whilst you're still arming one side, the attacking side. So I want to show the type of destruction that a nuclear bomb can do. And this is a small nuclear bomb, even though the destruction is great. Yeah, this is a small nuclear bomb. And when it comes to nuclear bomb capacity, meaning the largest bombs and the damages that it can do, we understand that Russia actually have this capacity. So I want to show this one here, and you'll see why I say this is small in comparison to what can happen. But the destruction is great, and this article is dated September the 23rd. What's today's date? I think that's today or yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, so that's dated yesterday. So it says, a Russian television channel loyal to Vladimir Putin has simulated a massive nuclear strike on London, and needless to say, the consequences would be absolutely devastating. And it's true. When we go through this and see the damage that it would do, and I want to show some stats as to what this size bomb will do to the UK, much less the larger bomb that it has. Yeah, it says, in a propaganda video released by Sargrad TV, a massive nuclear warhead is shown striking the British capital city in an attack that would immediately kill 850,000 and injure around 2 million others. It says the English language voiceover explains a nuclear weapon explodes in London. In this documentary, we explore the devastating consequences of this catastrophe. It says in the simulation, we use a warhead with a yield of 750 kilotons. So that's a pretty powerful charge, and the largest one that's been tested is 50 megatons. So you can say that's kind of like 50 times the size of this bomb here. 1,000 kilotons make 1 megaton. Yeah, so let's round this up to 1,000. Yeah, the largest bomb that they've got is 50 times the size of this. And look at the damage that this will do once we start to look at some stats. That's a pretty powerful charge. Upon detonation, a fireball as hot as the sun rapidly expands, reaching a radius of 950 meters, 1,039 yards. Anything trapped inside this fireball is instantly vaporized. Going back to that Terminator film, Judgment Day, You know, when you saw the shockwave come up, everything that was in its radius just turned instantly to ashes. It says in our simulation, the epicenter of the explosion is at Westminster. People within that radius won't even feel anything because the nerve impulse transmission speed is slower. Meaning, normally if you pinch yourself, there's a transmission time between the pinch and you feeling it. So this bomb blast is going to be so quick, you won't even have time to feel it. It says within 5 kilometers, 3 miles of the epicenter, the blast radius city of London, Camden Town, Kensington, Brixton, these areas will receive the most destruction. You know, and I've always said that, you know, Brixton will get it really bad for the simple fact that there's been many prophets that's been through Brixton. You know, you've had GMS that's been in Brixton, you've had IUIC, ISUPK, GOCC, and other smaller bodies that's been through Brixton, you know, telling the people to repent. It says a ticker on the screen counts up the number of fatalities, eventually maxing out at 850,000 deaths. It says buildings will be destroyed and debris will fill the streets, creating extremely dangerous conditions for everyone in the vicinity. Given the population density in central London, the initial death toll could exceed 250,000 people and around 600,000 injured within a radius of 10 kilometers, 6.225 miles. It says the radiation would cause third-degree burns. Within that radius, anything that can burn will catch fire. Petrol station, automobiles, power substations, gas infrastructure. It says explosive facilities will explode and amplify the effect of the devastation over a huge area, including areas from Camden to Greenwich, Islington to Wandsworth. And anyone that knows these areas knows that it's quite a distance between, you know, the center where it's saying it would hit to these places. It says areas the transmission tweets. I'll play that in a sec. This little video clip says fears of nuclear war are at their highest since the Cold War, as the UK, Europe and the United States have green-lighted the use of their weapons against the Russian mainland. And you know, there's a little video clip, a little lesson that one of my brothers did the other day, you know, Malakia, where a guy was speaking. I'm going to play a clip from him in a minute. He was saying that if Russia was saying if the West or UK give the permission for them to use their Storm Shadow, you know, that's a missile that can reach into Russia, then, you know, they'll fire their weapons, which will be devastation. I think the lesson was called Everyone Almost Died. Yeah, it says, and you can see why, by the devastation of this small nuclear bomb. You know, it says fears of nuclear war are at their highest since the Cold War, as the UK, Europe and the United States have green-lighted the use of their weapons against the Russian mainland. As earlier this month, Vladimir Putin said that the use of long-range missiles against Russian targets would mean that NATO is officially at war with Russia, as opposed to the proxy conflict currently being fought through Ukraine. Yeah, it says Putin warns authorization to fire long-range missiles deep inside Russia would mean NATO is at war with Russia. So, and if NATO goes to war, you know, the UK is going to join in, America is going to have to join in as well. I want to play this clip now, which shows the devastation of the bomb. You know.
Upon detonation, a fireball as hot as the sun rapidly expands, reaching a radius of 950 meters. Anything trapped inside this fireball is instantly vaporized. In our simulation, the epicenter of the explosion is at Westminster. People within that radius won't even feel anything because the nerve impulse transmission speed is slower. Within 5 kilometers of the epicenter, the blast radius. City of London, Camden Town, Kensington, Brixton. These areas will receive the most destruction. Buildings will be destroyed and debris will fill the streets.
And as it's going, if you look at the bottom, as the blast range is going out, the number at the bottom is the fatality that's happening at that time.
Extremely dangerous conditions for everyone in the vicinity. Given the population density in central London, the initial death toll could exceed 250,000 people and around 600,000 injured. Within a radius of 10 kilometers, the radiation will cause third-degree burns. Within that radius, anything that can burn will catch fire. Gas stations, automobiles, power substations, gas infrastructure. Explosive facilities will explode and amplify the effect of the devastation over a huge area, including areas from Camden to Greenwich and Islington to Wandsworth. According to various estimates, further 450,000 people will die from burns, debris injuries, or radiation sickness, and over 1 million will be traumatized. Many of these injuries could prove fatal over the next days and weeks. Radiation sickness in particular will take lives days and weeks later. In time, about 100,000 more will be added to the death toll. Within an 18-kilometer radius of the blast, the shock wave will be enough to shatter windows, causing additional casualties to people who come to the windows when they see the nuclear blast. The shock wave will reach Hounslow, Edgware, and Enfield. Depending on the wind, the fallout could spread well beyond the immediate blast zone, potentially affecting...
Yeah, and fallout kills quite a few people as well from a nuclear bomb.
Areas up to 5 to 10 kilometers away, causing damage even in regions such as Essex or Surrey. The estimated casualties in the event of a 750-kiloton nuclear bomb exploding in London would be about 850,000 people dead and about 2 million injured. If the explosion were to occur on the ground rather than in the air, the fallout map would be greatly expanded, and the radioactive fallout could even reach Manchester, infecting people, land, and animals. The problem with a nuclear explosion in London is also that London is essentially not designed to survive such a disaster. 11 of London's 20 major hospitals would be within the blast. The remaining hospitals would be physically unable to cope with the number of victims. Many people are still alive under the rubble of the buildings, suffering burns, but no one will be able to help them. Since the creation of nuclear weapons less than 100 years ago, there have been more than 20 incidents where a nuclear-armed country was one step away from a nuclear catastrophe.
And you see what the Mosai is doing? You know, it's that frog in a hot water situation where the temperature of the water is turned up little by little. So the frog don't really realize that the temperature is getting hotter because he's adjusting his body temperature to what's happening. And then by the time he does realize, it's a bit too late to do anything. And that's the same thing that the Mosai is doing here, man.
You can easily find these statistics on Wikipedia. I will attach a link to this article in the description of the video. I want to call everyone to action. Nuclear armed years ago, there have been more than 20 incidents where a nuclear-armed country was one step away from a nuclear catastrophe. You can easily find these statistics on Wikipedia. I will attach a link to this article in the description of the video. I want to call everyone to action. Nuclear weapons are a real threat to our future. Give this video a like and share it so that as many people as possible can learn about its consequences.
Alright. So, that's that. Next clip I want to play is from that guy I was telling you about, Scott Riddle. This is it, yeah.
Being on the Mini-Med 780G closed-loop system has transformed my life.
Well, I'm always loath to make predictions because...
So, this guy here, let me show you some of his credentials. Just... Where's the? I just saw. Slovakia. More that's can't find it, but he was a former. It was telling you what his credentials are. Can't find it. Oh no, this ain't in the video. Slovakia. I'm trying to find the clip. So the one just disappeared on me, man. Cha. I think this is it actually.
Well, I'm always loath to make predictions because in order to make predictions, you have to, I mean, back when I was an intelligence officer, that was my job, to do predictive analysis. But I would only do that after I would, talk, interrogate my boss to find out exactly what it is he wanted to know. And then based upon his direction, I would build an intelligence collection plan using the resources available to collect the various things, because I'd break down his direction into what we call essential elements of information, the specific pieces of knowledge we need to know, and then I'd collect on it. And then I would be able to evaluate each answer to the essential element of information based upon the quality of the intelligence that was derived from the collection plan. I would say, okay, this, I have an answer, but I'm not too confident in this answer because the source was a drunk prostitute.
Like Tyler says, Hezbollah's sudden slap will destroy Israel. Netanyahu's suicidals. Hold on, is this the actual video one? Oh Lord. Slovakia, 1 second. I think it might be. Yeah.
Who claimed to have access she probably didn't have. Or I would say I'm really confident in this one because we actually intercepted the phone call where they laid this thing out. This one I'm even more confident because I got the document. And so you look all that, you weigh it in, factor it in, and say, okay, based upon the totality of this, I'll now do my analysis, and I will say that these are the top 5 possible, courses of action, and I'll rate them from most likely to least likely, and explain to you why I did it. That's what I used to do for a living.
What I want to do, what I should have done, because we just played the clip on the nuclear blast, yeah? So, show some stats, because that was a 750, what's it? Kilotons. Yeah. Now the largest bomb that's been tested, that's the Tsar bomb, which is 50 megatons, which, like I was saying, is 5 times the size of that one there, which was tested. Now when we look up what it says about that, it says the Tsar bomber was the most powerful nuclear weapon ever detonated with a yield of 50 megatons of TNT. This was a result of a bomb originally designed to have a capacity of 100 megatons, twice the size. And it says, but which was modified to reduce radioactive fallout. And also, when you look into it, what happened was the plane that dropped it, they dropped the bomb from a plane, which the bomb had a parachute on it to give the plane more time to get out of harm's way, and the pilots only had a 50% chance of getting away. So that was near enough like a suicide mission. So it says that bomb, the Tsar bomb, is 3,800 times stronger than the Hiroshima bomb. Yeah. It says the blast wave from the Tsar bomber was felt over 1,000 kilometers away, and its shockwaves was detected 4,000 kilometers away. Now, in miles, yeah, because I only understand miles, I don't understand kilometers. Yeah, the shockwave would have been 2,485 miles. Yeah, that's how far that would have felt. It says the blast wave from the blast wave from the Tsar bomber was felt over 1,000 kilometers, and that is what, 621 miles. Now, the length of the UK says if you wish to drive the length of Great Britain, that journey would be about 823 miles, since the road is not a straight line. So that would, in a straight line, it would probably even be less. But even if this bomb, 750 kilotons, was dropped in the center of Great Britain, so say 411 miles, yeah, in the center, that means the shockwave, the blast actually would travel the length of the UK, and the shockwave would definitely destroy it. And these are the weapons that the Most High has in his armory, waiting to be used. Yeah, so going back to this clip now.
Likely the least likely, and explain to you why I did it. That's what I used to do for a living. And so here you've thrown something at me. Is Israel going to go into Lebanon? Well, I don't know. First thing I have to say is I don't know what's driving Netanyahu. I can guess what's driving Netanyahu. This is, I think, the third time in recent history that he's threatened to launch a ground incursion into Lebanon. Each time, the Israeli military pushes back and says, we can't do it. We don't have the resources. It's a fight we're going to lose. The definition of an insanity is, expecting a different outcome.
And this is one of the reasons why the West keeps arming them, because, as he's saying, if they were to fight Hezbollah, they would lose. So the West has to harm them. But then, the hypocrisy is that you're talking about peace, ceasefire, but yet still you're arming the aggressor, the one that's causing the most damage at this moment in time.
Even though all the other factors are the same. So I am led to believe that Netanyahu is not serious about going into Lebanon, that this is posturing on his part. Then you have to ask yourself, why is he posturing? Who is he posturing to? Is he trying to intimidate Hezbollah? No. What he's trying to do is mollify a right-wing coalition, governing coalition.
Most people have no clue that in 2024, the best way to make money with Amazon is not
coalition that refuses to accept peace as a possibility. Why? Because they're linked to Netanyahu, to his future, and his future is only guaranteed so long as Israel coalition. That who is he posturing to? Is he trying to intimidate Hezbollah? No. What he's trying to do is mollify a right-wing coalition, governing coalition that refuses to accept peace as a possibility.
Yeah, so no matter how much we talk about peace and ceasefire, ultimately his coalition don't want that peace, because then that means the end of him.
Why? Because they're linked to Netanyahu, to his future, and his future is only guaranteed so long as Israel is in a perpetual state of conflict. The moment Israel accepts a ceasefire against Gaza, the moment they normalize the situation on the border with Lebanon, the Israeli people will say, well, we no longer need this ridiculous right-wing cabinet, and it's time to put in a new Israeli government. That means that Netanyahu's out. And if Netanyahu's out, He's not going to have the protection of politicized courts anymore. And he will be arrested and put on trial for corruption and maybe some other charges too as well. That's not the future that Netanyahu wants. This is all about Netanyahu. It has nothing.
See, and I'm sure the West knows this. So this is Job chapter 15 and verse 34. It says, "For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery." And how's that fire going to come about? Through these nuclear weapons, that these nations are building. The Lord is, I think it's Proverbs 21:1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, meaning his mind, and he turneth it whithersoever he willeth." So there will come a moment in time when that button will be pressed. It says it's been about 20 times where countries that have nuclear capacity has almost pressed that button. It says they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. Yeah, because like we saw in that video clip just a while ago, we heard the talk of peace, 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 when these people really don't want peace. And I'm sure over here in the West, we know that. Job 20 in verse 4, it says, "Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reacheth unto the clouds," yeah, that's his pride, "yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he?" Because once these bombs go off, everything, it's a dance done. Yeah, it says, "The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him." So yeah, this is what we're seeing happening right before our eyes. The triumphing of the wicked is coming to an end. Because what? Job 9:24, it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Yeah, this is Sirach 10:8. It says, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." And that's what we're seeing. We're in the process of a translation. The Eddie Murphy film, Trading Places, that's what we're seeing happening right before our eyes. And how's it going to happen? Through the destruction and demise of this kingdom, which will be via a third world war, and nuclear weapons would be used. But we see the devastation that these weapons can use, man. And you have to be mad to be creating such weapons in the first place. That it not only just takes out your enemy, can take you out as well. But yeah, this is all the Lord's doing, man. But yeah, I just wanted to show this, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. With that, I'm going to close out. I'm going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Wahar, Rakah, Kadash, Kwame Sha'Allah.